Okay, welcome back to the E-Managerial website. I'm Professor San. Today I wish to share with you what is the top 15 root cause of the year. This is the common root cause that most likely that the IT auditor, IT reassessor, or IT assurance always uh, identify those kind of risks. So I come up with the top 15 root cause that may auditor raise as audit observation or or risk identification during the reassessment. So uh, there are 15 root cause that involve with the implementation of security management on the information security. So number one, the common lapses involved with the insufficient appreciation of IT risk by board or top management. This is the area that management may not emphasize on the very function on the organization. So the the structure of the risk management may not fulfill comply with the standard requirement or may break the regulator requirement. So I think that most of small business or SME business may not emphasize on the agriculture. So uh, the infrastructure of the IT may not strengthen, and a lot of issue uh, occurs during the reassessment due to the management did not focus on the agriculture establishment. So sometimes management they focus on the cost saving, did not sustain the business with the risk management awareness culture. So this area can cause a lot of issue within the organization. So the number two is absence of implement disaster recovery plan. This is very important that the organization need to understand what is risk involved with the business activity. So the business should have the disaster recovery plan. In the strategy or the business can assume the business process during the crisis or during the system disruption, during the business operation. So the IT steering committee need to enforce the IT operation to establish the IT recovery strategy, such as IT contingency plan, rollback plan, or fallback plan, or reassessment whether the disaster recovery plan are fully comprehensive address for all the system that have ability to recovery during the crisis, meaning that the operation or production system could not be available at the moment. So the system will fail over to the alternative system or alternative infrastructure to ensure the business can assume. So the number three is inadequate control over the user access or privilege access. This is a very important that most organizations may not emphasize on this particular control, that did not monitor on the section management, did not address on a certain period of access, did not review on the user privilege or user right, or did not maintain the user profile or matrix, whether the access in line with the need to know basis or need to have basis or need to access basis based on the standard requirement, For example, business unit request the privilege for their staff, so the IT department just accommodate when they obtain the request form. So the IT security just grant permission without perform independent judgment. So the grant permission will lead to unauthorized access in case of the UOT is not met the job description. So this particular control need to be fulfilled and need to be monitored on all access and all movement. So the number four is inadequate of IT reassessment and robust control implementation. So sometimes the organization may not emphasize on the reculture to conduct the regular reassessment, such as penetration testing, or they conduct the uh, team read exercise to ensure that all infrastructure and system are fully addressed on the loophole or flaw to ensure that we can put the robust control to mitigate the risk and uh, let we emphasize on the control activity after they got the reassessment result that they need to present to the risk committee or senior management on the existing vulnerability infrastructure and system. So this area they need to conduct the penetration test at least one per year on the critical system like a system upgrade or data migration or the new project involved with the e-commerce involved with the in the business transaction. So the IT security need to put a lot of initiative and effort to conduct the regular reassessment such as a system penetration test or the uh, rhythm exercise. So the number five is absence of control monitoring and evaluation on the inherent risk on the top risk. So sometimes the IT security may not monitor on access from the external source such as IDS or IPS or checkpoint firewall or content filtering or proxy management or domain controller or storage system, something like that. So IT security need to review the audit log as a regular basis. Uh, it's depend on the critical or system. It's depend on the volume of access. So this area uh, may not emphasized by the reassessor or IT compliance that lead to a fraudulent activity or could not detect the fraudulent activity on time is the monitoring control was not strengthened. So the number six is a failure to implement the IT system and IT infrastructure. So this area may not incur in case of the in detail, not in detail in the work down structure. Sometimes project manager did not uh, 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 provide or training to the project team to implement the critical system. So the engineer may mistakenly perform the system rollout or deployment to the critical system or critical network device. So the potential of error can caused by the staff or the engineer that did not aware of the activity in detail or misunderstanding during the project deployment. So the number seven is a control reliant on vendor or third party. Most organizations they rely on the vendor. For example, uh, the organization A they have the contract with the third party to conduct the quarterly preventive maintenance at the outside ATM. For just for example, when the maintenance uh, execution. So the engineer from the vendor go directly to the outside ATM, but our staff did not fully stand by from the start point to the end point. So the third party or vendor engineer may perform malicious activity or can put the malware into the ATM machine or CDM machine, so will trigger the time to set the logic bomb, so the case can spill out automatically at the specific time. And then this is just for example. So the organization should address this kind of risk and let our staff need to fully accompany with for all activity that performed by IT vendor. So the number 8 is internet safeguard sensitive and uh, uh, confidential data. So sometimes the organization may miss out to create the policy and procedure that involve with the bring your own device policy, or involve with the acceptable use policy, or involve with the user responsibility policy for any access of the data. So the organization should establish the bring your own device policy to mitigate the risk involved with the access on the sensitive data or confidential data. So the number 9 is a poor in full HA implementation. Sometimes the organization did not focus on the technological control to ensure that the system uptime can up to the 99.99%. It means the zero downtime. 1 year, the system can down only the 3 or 5 minutes only. So the full HA, we need to focus on technology, people, and process. It's not only technology, it's not only the system clustering, it's not only the system redundancy, it's not only the technology that fail over from production to the so we need to add on process and people. So the people, we need to have the successor plan, ensure that the principal only the release custodian will be automatically take over from the principal custodian. And also the process is a plan A does not work, so the plan B automatically execution. So the full HA we can consider on 3 parts. One is technology, and the second is a process, and the third one is a people. So the number 10 is also the common lapses on the outlet, also IT policy and procedure. So sometimes the organization may not emphasize on the internal regulation to ensure that the policy are timely reviewed and endorsed by senior management. So the organization should have the proper policy framework to ensure that internal control are fulfilled and up to date. So the number 11 is an insufficient awareness program on information security. This is a common lapses that the organization may not put a lot of effort to strengthen the risk culture or awareness culture. So let the business user aware on the information security breach. They need to comply strictly. So the IT compliant or IT assurance need to conduct the risk assessment on this area. So the number 12 is the lapses in retaining experienced IT professional. Sometimes the organization did not focus on the professional skill set from the expertise function, so they may not obtain the qualified applicant or qualified staff. They have the seniority, So the organization should maintain the qualified staff to ensure that the IT functions are fulfilled and there is no interruption during the implementation of the critical project. So the, uh, the certain area is a lapses in the super and root ID handling. This is a common lapses that most organizations did not focus on super and root ID. Sometimes the engineer can can perform the root ID or super ID without approving authority, or only the one custodian can access this area. So the organization should split the user ID from left and right and different person. One is a checker and one is a maker and one is a authorizer as a operation by one requirement for the standard implementation. So for any access on the root ID or super ID, we need to split left part under the principal custodian and right part under the supervisor or authorized person to ensure that we uh, reduce the chance of the fraudster. So the last one is witness uh, in implementing data loss prevention program. This is very important that we maintain the CIA security framework, confidentiality, integrity, and vulnerability. So the data loss prevention program may focus on three critical areas. One is application, the second is physical, and the third one is a network. So the application may lead to IM, instant messenger, email, or peer-to-peer connection. So the physical area like a printer, USB, copy and pass, something like that. And the network area may be bridge to the component that allow the infrastructure to use Wi-Fi or unsecure protocol, something like that. And the last lapses is lapses in the cyber security define and deep. So the organization may not establish on this area to protect the cyber security attacks from the external factor. So the organization need to come up with this initiative to ensure that we can protect the security breach from the cyber attack. So this is just a principle information that I quote and present whatever involved with the common lapses. So the 15 root cause of the year that I present in a moment is a lot of issue that that lead to financial law or business interruption, and also exposed to the legal liability risk. So thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and share. Okay, welcome back to the E-Managerial website. Today I wish to share with you why audit finding, meaning that how can audit raise the audit observation during their audit assignment. So I will come up with the most root cause or common root cause that lead to audit observation or lead to audit finding. So the number one is staff negligence. This is the most critical lapses or root cause that lead to impact to the business operation, impact to the failure of process, impact to the customer service, impact to the, or can say the break to the security appliance, or can say the breach or violate the requirement of the regulator. So the staff negligence, or we can say the careless or the staff. So the next root cause is the staff shortage. Staff shortage we refer to the meaning that the unit, the business unit may not have the successor plan. successor plan or backup plan of the person who implement the critical process. For example, when the database administrator was not in place or on leave, so the all the process will be delay or prolong or the execution. This is the concern area that the audit need to raise to the management to identify what is a resource to allocate to implement the critical system or critical function of the business. So the staff shortage we refer to the not enough the manpower to implement the critical system or process. So the next is a lack of emphasis or important. Sometimes the business user may not understand the process risk, may not understand the risk related their action or their activity that perform with the financial transaction. So whatever involve the critical process that the staff or custodian or process owner did not treat the process as a significant, so they feel that the process is just a normal execution. When the auditor or risk assessor come up that field, so they will consider as important. So this is a different mindset, or we can say the different aspect that the business user and auditor that consider as a different way. So the lack of emphasis or lack of importance that most likely involved with the unaware of the information security. So the next root cause is the high workload without closely monitoring process. Sometimes the line manager or supervisor put a lot of activity or task and need to be done on time. So a lot of tasks. So staff could not manage or could not prioritize the task without guidance, without the precisely guidance or instruction from the line manager. So the staff cannot approach or cannot complete the task on time. So the high workload refer to a lot of things that need to be done on time and may have the pressure from the supervisor. So the process will be a failure during the execution period from the IT engineer, from the IT custodian. So the next root cause is an unclear instruction, unclear guideline or procedure to implement the critical system and process. So when the organization design the unclear process or unclear instruction or unclear mechanism of execution the critical system or process, so will lead to inconsistent of practice, or can say the will lead to wrong execution into the critical system that involved with the financial transaction. So the next root cause is a lack of emphasis or familiarity to implement the critical system or network system. This is involved with the we can say not provide sufficient awareness program to the person in charge, to the IT operator, to implement the critical system or network system. So sometimes they're not familiar with the new system, they're not familiar with the system enhancement, they're not familiar with the or we can say the critical process that assigned by the line manager or the management. So the process owner may not understand what is a specific requirement. So the implementation will lead to the impact area. So the next root cause is the inadequate of monitoring and supervision by supervisor. This is most likely that line manager or supervisor that rely on the unresolved from the subordinate staff, or rely on the unresolved from the IT operator that may not closely supervise or monitor on activity or the status on the task ongoing or progress. So this is the lack of oversight or overlook from the manager on the critical process that they assign the staff to implement without them closely monitoring process. So the next root cause is inadequacy of the existing control. This is we refer to the we can say the generic term that involved with the internal control that the organization may not conduct the reassessment regularly or may not review the policy and procedure. This is involved with the inadequacy, meaning the insufficient, or the control may not fit the purpose, or control may those control may obsolete or cannot mitigate the risk. This is involved with the inadequacy. So the next root cause, for any process they did not comply with the 4E appliance. The 4E appliance stand for effectiveness, efficiency, economy, and enabling. So for any process, we need to outcome with effectiveness, we need to outcome with efficiency, we need to outcome with the cost effectiveness, we need to outcome can drive or can lead by themselves. They can enabling the business effectively. So the next root cause is no triple A appliance. I mean the organization did not apply with the standard rule, with the authentication, authorization, and accounting. So this is a very important that asset control function need to have this triple A appliance to secure the data, to govern the data or information of the organization. So the next root cause, non-segregation of duty, or segregation of duty was not in play, or poor in implementation of segregation of duty. Sometimes the organization or management did not focus on this particular risk. So they focus on the profit orientation. They did not focus on the lapses that that the organization should focus on the duty splitation when they execute with the critical process. So we need to identify which area that performed by the engineer. So we need to segregate or split the duty so we can identify the root cause come from. For example, when they are working in the development team, we need to identify which unit that are involved with the coding, which unit involved with the testing, which unit involved with the deployment, which unit involved with the evaluation process. So we need to segregate the UT properly before we allow to access into the critical process or project. So the next root cause is management oversight and overlook. This is just a common statement. And also the manual and corrective control is always uh, 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 executed by the management. So some control may have the gap. Some control and they already have the strengthened activity or strengthened prevention or safeguard. So this kind of control is not the best control. So we need to reduce this kind of control. You need to convert from the manual to automated control. You need to reduce the corrective control to preventive control. This is better. So the next root cause is a no reinforcement program. This is involved with the KPI setting framework that link to the beneficiary of the process owner who did not apply with the rule. So the organization will reinforce whatever involved with the key process or key system execution. So the organization should link to the KPI trigger that can reinforce the staff to execute what is a compliant requirement for execution the critical system that involve with the financial transaction, that involve with the data integrity. So the net root cause is no turnaround time or uh, 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 poor implementing an operational service agreement that is involved with a lot of stakeholder, that the organization need to identify which stakeholder can submit lately from one stakeholder to next stakeholder, from stakeholder 2 to the stakeholder 3. So we need to measure what is latency, or what is the effect that one stakeholder could not deliver a service to the next stakeholder. So some transaction some transaction may have multi-stakeholder need to be complete. So we need to identify what is a proper turnaround time that we need to identify properly by system. So the net root cause is uh, unmeasurable to implement the information security program. This is involved with the measurement mechanism by that set by management. Okay, so the next is a lack or insufficient awareness program that is involved with the awareness or capacity building, that we need to ensure all staff and all management need to aware for the information security that involved with the finance that involved with the financial transaction. And the net root cause is non-standardization of process and control. Sometimes the organization did not focus on the standard requirement. They did not extend the process to the good governance, to govern all system, all process, all infrastructure, all critical system. So we need to standardize. Standardize meaning that we need to formalize to the proper process that the IT system or human or process or other related matter, we need to standardize the process. So we need to measurable, we need to track what is a process and control can out of the standard requirement. So when we have the standard process, we easy to manage, and we also comply with the law also. So the net root cause in a advocacy also a monitoring program. This is just a similar to to the the the, the top one that I mentioned already. And the net root cause is the weakness of motivational program. This is related to the HR policy and procedure. Sometimes involved with the emotional or the staff, or involved with the IT sabotage, that the organization did not motivate or encourage the staff, and we need to balance with the activity and motivation to ensure that we can retain the IT professional to work for the organization. Okay. So the negative cost is insufficient of the IT security parameter setup and design. This is related to the security requirement, or planning or initiating for the security requirement for development, for networking, for database, for infrastructure, for physical and environmental. So the parameter we need to apply for all aspects, not only development. So when we weakness in design in the security aspect, so we will impact to the all infrastructure or all IT operation. So the net root cause in absence or retention of IT professional. This is a weakness point from the head of IT or IT director or line manager. They need to ensure that all IT professional who is qualified on a subject matter expert, so they need to retain, they need to motivate, they need to ensure they need to monitor and need to motivate and encourage them, let them to stay with the organization with a proper reason. This is the way that the manager need to engage properly and need to assess what is a situation that lead to demotivate from the staff, so staff can resign from the organization. So the next root cause is an insufficient risk assessment program. This relate to the risk assessment. Okay, insufficient control over the vendor asset management. This is an area related to the vendor asset control. So uh, uh, we need to oversee and strengthen the control activity that are set from the vendor, especially on the outside support. So vendor may remote into the production system. So when the organization allow the vendor engineer to remote into the VPN or remote into whatever involved with the technology that we allow. So we need to restrict, we need to identify, we need to assess properly before we allow them to access into the internal network. The next root cause is insufficient control over the super and root ID asset management. This is a very critical that most likely that lead to unauthorized access or lead to system compromise. That all system that did not split the user ID or did not administer or the use of the super ID or root ID. So the next root cause is no independent review on the risk-based approach. So when we engage the independent reviewer like auditor, risk assessor, assurance, IT compliance or IT governance to conduct the risk assessment. So we need to extend to the risk-based approach. It's not only compliance-based approach. So when they conduct the risk assessment with the risk-based approach, so they can cover for all aspects from end-to-end access. So they can review for all aspects that the IT department may have a lot of lapses, may have a lot of issue from BAU, from the activity that done by the IT engineer. So the next root cause involved with no system clustering or no redundancy, no failover, no fault tolerance, or no real-time replication. All aspects involved with a single point of failure. So I think that this is involved with cost of investment to ensure that the system uh, meet zero downtime and ensure that all infrastructure meet the full HA. So the next root cause is improper or misconfiguration of system and networking. This is a very important when the engineer apply the new configuration or modify the configuration on the system or network. We need to have the procedure or guideline and verification process from the line manager before we deployment into production. So the next root cause is overlooked to adapt the standard and framework of the IT governance. This is a governance activity that ensure that the IT standard and framework are fully comply to ensure that we apply with the local law or regulator requirement. So the next root cause is outdated of the IT policy and procedure or no integrated policy framework. This is most likely that the organization did not emphasize on the governance for the reviewing and endorse the the control activity that present in the existing policy and procedure. So the next root cause is unmanageable of the IT risk appetite across the relevant business unit. This is the high level perspective that assigned and set by the top management or board director involved with the group risk or acceptance involve the IT or not only the IT for all department. If the organization have the 10 department, so we have a risk appetite for all department. So business user or business head or business division head, they need to understand what is a risk appetite that defined by the top management. So the next root cause is insufficient control over the physical and environmental security both on and outside premise. So this is involved with physical environment, not only the data center, not only the server room. So involved with the sensitive area or restricted area. So the management need to emphasize on this area, need to put a lot of control to prevent the intruder or the external attack. Something related to the man-made threat. Okay, the next root cause is complicated user interface or processing latency. This is involved with the application that application behavior design with the complicated user interface that can lead to the misunderstanding or lead to wrong execution or lead to mistakenly execute to the critical process involved with the financial transaction. So the next root cause is a lack of business process, which numbers involved with IT project. So this is involved with the first stage of the project study is called a facility study or business requirement. So the project manager need to analyze what is a process workflow, what is a business rule, what is a business model, what is a requirement upon the core objective that they find for the key project. So the next root cause is a poor in predefined IT risk profile on the critical IT project. This is involved with a risk assessment or risk examination on the IT risk profile when we execute the critical IT project. For example, they have the two projects at the same time. One is implement with the virtualization project, and other one is implement with the hardware and software uh, review to replace all hardware and software that involved with the out of update or out of service. So when they apply with the two critical project at the same time, so sometimes they may overlook on the predefined IT risk profile. So this is will impact during the project implementation. So the next root cause is a control reliant from third party or outsourcing. Sometimes the organization may not focus on this particular area, and the manager they rely on the third party or access. They did not validate for all process or all activity that done by the vendor engineer. So this is can lead to the fraudulent activity. For example, when we engage the vendor to conduct the preventive quarterly maintenance at the outside ATM, when the engineer on the outside ATM maintenance period, so the manager did not assign our staff to stand by or to accommodate or to accompany with for the full period of the maintenance period. So this is can be lapses during the maintenance period. So the third party vendor or vendor engineer can put a lot of malicious code into the outside ATM. So the malicious code can trigger into the core banking system. So the money can spill out automatically based on that time set. So the next root cause involved with the insufficient IT skill set and competency to implement the critical system and project. This is involved with the competency issue. So we need to provide the awareness or training program on a certain critical function or skill set to ensure that their competency are fulfilled and fit to purpose. So the next root cause is absence of implement disaster recovery plan or contingency plan. This is involved with the system recovery that the organization need to establish the ability or strategy of the system that recovery on the crisis system on a system disruption. So we can assume the business uh, normally after we recover the system on the procedure that they define. Okay, so the next root cause is no computer emergency readiness team, we call CERT, and also cyber security incident response team, so we call CSERT. So the organization should establish these two functions to ensure that we can recover the critical system on time. So the next root cause is no system healthy check or penetration test with a proper scenario set up. So sometimes we engage the third party or vendor to conduct the pen test, but we did not define the proper scenario to conduct the pen test, whether the white box testing or black box testing or gray box testing. So the scenario should be defined clearly and approved by the steering committee or approved by the risk committee before we deployment or before we execution. So the next root cause is a lack of top-down reinforcement structure. This is involved with the structure that we need to reinforce from the top uh, to the lower to the normal staff. So the committee or top management need to put this approach to ensure that the appliance or security appliance are fully comply with the rule requirement based on the regulator requirement. So the next root cause is a lack of the communication channel and escalation process. So this is involved with the incident handling. When the ticket come from the business user, when the help desk or IT operator um, um, send the ticket wrongly to the wrong channel, or they don't know how to escalate to the right person to solve the issue, so we will impact the service or will impact the SLA between the IT department and business user. So this is a common lapses that involve with the escalation process. So the staff may not understand the escalation procedure or the communication channel properly from the team. So the last root cause is a lack of promoting risk awareness culture across the organization related to the information system security and crisis management. So the organization need to promote the risk awareness culture to ensure that all the staff they aware the risk management, or they need to understand what is a threat involved with the information or data that are used by the business unit. So thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and share.